you probably know I bring my tinfoil hat to every episode, so let me just put it on for a second. I shared recently that the U.S. government health officials, which I'm doing air quotes because that's bullshit in the first place to even call them health officials, have now said that ultra processed and high carbohydrate foods and seed oils do not cause obesity or disease, which is the biggest lie ever told.
All right. We are here for another episode of the Ignite the King podcast. And today we are going to drop into the energy that all men need to access. This is going to be all about the lover archetype and how to apply that into your life. Welcome, G. Russell Reynolds.
Thank you, fine sir. You know, we need like some Batman music or something dramatic, like when we start the episodes. Da da da.
Don't we have that? Isn't that
Oh,
the
yeah,
intro that comes in?
I guess we do. I'm not hearing it, so I always in my head go dun dun dun.
Like our pregame audio that we listen to or something.
I've got my own theme music playing in my head all the time anyway.
Same. Well, this is going to be a really fascinating episode. We had an amazing call in our Ignite Brotherhood last night where we opened up the lover season. The lover is one of the 4 masculine archetypes that we did an episode where we briefly went into it. And today's going to be a little bit more of a deep dive into that. But really, it's about how men can access the life force energy to command and direct focus in their life. And that's a topic I love for sure.
Yeah. And I want to jump in real quick for anybody who's listening who has not heard any of our previous episodes where we talk about the lover archetype. Men, the lover is not just sex, right? It's not like, hello, lover. That's not what we mean. The lover is about your heart. It's about having an open heart and the ability to see the world through the lens of your heart, not necessarily your egoic mind. And there is tremendous value in that. When you can connect your heart to everything you do, your life will transform. So don't tune us out and go, oh, lover, I don't need sex tips. That's not what it's about, Jack.
And it is about sexual energy, right?
There's that too.
We talk about the command of sexual energy and how men are essentially depleting the power of that sexual energy through things like pornography and the amount of dopamine that's just getting hijacked from their body and the kind of the limp handshakes we see out there with men that are just literally spraying their energy everywhere. So huge part of the life force energy is our sexual energy.
Nothing that repels me more than the dead fish limp handshake. Guys, don't fucking do that. Please firm up your grip.
To be fair to men out there, we know one of the shadows of the lover energy is the impotent and being listless and not having energy, right? And then maybe we can weave that in this episode. But nothing like meeting a limp handshake, huh?
Ugh. Ugh. Let me say what I really feel. But you know, you mentioned about that depletion of sexual energy, and you probably know I bring my tinfoil hat to every episode. So let me just put it on for a second. I shared recently that the U.S. government health officials, which I'm doing air quotes because that's bullshit in the first place to even call them health officials, have now said that ultra processed and high carbohydrate foods and seed oils do not cause obesity or disease, which is the biggest lie ever told.
Yeah.
Here's where I'm linking that up. They want us to be sick, fat, and weak because we're easier to control that way. So where I'm bringing this is, men, understand the same is true with your sexual energy. Your sexual energy, the ancient cultures call it your prana, your life force, right? Mm-hmm. So when you can cultivate that and build it up, think of it like the Dragon Ball Z dude. And I don't follow this, I don't remember everybody's name, but where he's like, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it's like a fireball of energy. The culture is designed to keep you depleted. It is designed to keep you distracted. It wants you to be weak because, again, you're easier to control that way. So if we're constantly, and by the way, I'm not speaking from on high. Like, I make these mistakes too. I get caught up and tripped in this too. Looking at hot chicks on Instagram, or looking at porn, or taking matters into your own hands as far as masturbation goes. If you're constantly depleting the life force that would allow you to build the energy to make a difference in your life, wake up.
Yeah. It's a short-term experience or feeling, but has major long-term effects on our vital energy, our health, frankly. I mean, it is literally the seed of creation, right? And we need to point that literally into the right place, and not just everywhere. And that's just one aspect of life force, right?
Sorry.
I know. There's a lot to say here.
Yeah.
There's a lot to say here.
Does anybody else notice the more often you do it, the less satisfying it becomes, and the more it leaves you depleted?
Yeah. And how this ties in, by the way, to pornography, because also we mentioned the impotent lover. The other side of the shadow lover is the addicted lover. And that's probably the one that we see most often played out as behaviors by men in the culture, right? Whether it's pornography, alcohol, drugs, social media, any work, anything that can be an addiction or a shiny object syndrome, or just, I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more. And you're right. It is the law of diminishing returns, because it isn't sustainable. First of all, it's not coming from a natural energy source, right? That's why when we're saying cultivating that prana, that chi, that sacred sexual energy, it is powerful. It is one, again, it's the seed of creation.
And they want you to be addicted, because if you're addicted, you are dependent. So, man, even and I know for me, for a long time, like, sacred sexual energy and sacred union, it sounds all airy fairy and sounds like something unattainable, something like I couldn't even really relate to or connect to in the beginning. But if nothing else, then for yourself to start, build that energy, because do you want to be a slave or a sovereign? The choice is yours.
Absolutely. There's so many pillars around this this lover energy. I want to make sure we can kind of weave around, but I definitely want to make sure we cover a number of these places, because something you said before brings up this point. There's something really powerful around harnessing our life force. I spent years as a chiropractor and literally working with the innate intelligence of the body, and the miracles I got to see in my practice of healing that seemingly were defying logic or seen impossible by the allopathic medical system, which is part of the they that you talk about, and the pharmaceutical control. And, the chiropractors have been the pioneers in fighting against that kind of corruption, and also wanting to be taken out by those institutions. So, a lot of things we're talking about now, I'm talking about 20 years ago about seed oils and, inflammatory pathways and all that stuff. But the point is, and you witnessed this, you attended the Dave Asprey Biohacking conference last weekend in Dallas. And one of the takeaways you shared with our group last night was part of Joe Dispenza's presentation, was just the miracle healings that were occurring. And a lot of that was through just natural tools of activating our own healing energy, our own life force, our own innate intelligence. And, one of the basic premises of chiropractic is like your body, it doesn't need anything. It just doesn't need interference. Like, it's a self-healing, self-regulating system. So maybe you can share a little more on that, both from your experience, but also how men can start to see that in themselves, access that maybe better, or even just have a deeper respect and understanding for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a powerful event to go to the biohacking conference. And some people are like, what is biohacking? What does that mean? It's bio life hacking, right? You're getting the cheat codes. You're hacking. You're looking for the shortcuts. And biohacking is really getting the cheat codes to live a longer and higher quality life, right? So, like, you don't want to live to be 180 in a wheelchair with tubes sticking out of you and you can't even walk. That's not living, right? To be vibrantly healthy and cognitively sharp, and an ability to still participate in everything life has to offer. Past 100 years old, that's amazing. Most people aren't even doing that past 50. In their
Totally.
50s, I hear people like, "Oh, I'm getting old." Shut the don't.
In their
you
30s,
dare.
people are saying that.
Oh my! I want to smack the taste out of their mouth. Don't you dare! Like, I'm 55 and I'm doing shit most 25-year-olds can't. Don't
I
give me
hope.
that crap.
Right.
Aging
Right.
is inevitable. Getting old is a choice.
I hope.
And when you make the decision that you're old, guess what? Your body is following right behind.
Oh, yes.
So, the biohacking is an amazing thing. And one of the things Dave said on stage is like, some people are like, oh, that's not possible. That's all pseudoscience. It's like, look, running a 4-minute mile was impossible. The doctor said your heart would explode until Roger Bannister did it. And then the following year, how many other people did it after him? Because now they believed it's possible, right? A locomotive.
You believe it, then you see it, not see it, and then believe it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Locomotion wasn't possible. Flying a craft that's heavier than air wasn't possible. That was impossible until somebody did it. So being able to heal the body and you can call it God, you can call it Great Spirit. I'm not concerned with the label you attach, but there is an innate divine intelligence that is the source of all things. And when we tap into that energy, which is our true source, there was a philosopher named Marcel Proust who said, pear seeds grow into pear trees, apple seeds grow into apple trees, and God seeds grow into God. We are, and I'm not saying we become gods, like, for all my devout Christians, don't get upset. I'm not speaking blasphemy. I'm saying that we become that which we are. We are the children of, right? So we are returning to source. What Joe Dispenza has shown, and he's like, it's not pseudoscience. You can't call it. Like, they've done scientific studies with tons of data showing that when you can reconnect to that divine intelligence that is within every one of us, miracles happen. Your body can heal. And I'm talking about vision restored to people who are blind, hearing restored to people who are deaf, spines that were crushed or diseased, impossible by Western standards to heal, regenerated.
Yeah.
And the pathway to that divine intelligence, here's the cheat code, is not through your head, it's through your heart.
Ding, 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 ding. Absolutely. And this is so under the umbrella of the vitalistic model, right? And where I come from in my chiropractic philosophy, the original premise was unite man the physical with man the spiritual. It is that divine healing that you're talking about, and miracles do take place. Things that again defy logic. And one of the questions men out there might be asking themselves, like, okay, that sounds like a really cool story. One, is it true? And two, which I think we're bringing truth to, how do you access it? Like, what does that actually mean in my daily life to access life force energy, right? And how are the different ways it shows up? What are the ways that it gets essentially taken or stolen from us, right? So I think it's important we cover this. So I'll kind of set this up a little bit because part of what we did last night on our call, because we're entering a new season, right? This lover season, and we are planting those seeds, as you said, those pear seeds or God seeds, and setting intention for what we're creating in our life. And we encourage the men to be bold. Like, what would you desire? What would you love? Like, what would help you feel alive? And these are all the descriptors of what we call the sacred third of the lover, right? Being alive, being playful, being present. How many of you men out there, women in your life, have said, you need to be more present? And you're like, I'm here. What do you mean? Yeah, but like presence. Are you able to drop into your heart? Are you able to be present in your relationship? Are you able to have a connection there that isn't in the mind? And we talk about the pitfalls of men, right? Being in their head and trying to be logical. Right. I think there was a short from the last episode that you said, like, men, if you're trying to be logical with your women, that's not going to work. Right. So it is a reconnection to the heart. So again, if we know this importance and know that it really works, whether in relationship or our own physical health or setting intention for what we want in our life, like how does one access that? I'll add mine, but I want to hear what you would say to the men out there of ways to start doing that.
Yeah, it's funny when men hear, she says she wants more presents, so I got to go back to work to make more money to buy her more presents. No, that's wrong spelling. No, presents. She wants you to be fully there with her in the moment. Yeah, it's so funny that I think one of the and I'm skipping all over the place in my brain. I got
Well, can
5
you share
sentences
what?
coming out of my mouth at the
Can
same
you
time. I know
share
what I'm
what you
saying though.
shared about Joe Dispenza, or not Joe Dispenza, Mercola?
Yeah,
And out of all the technologies and biohacking of how to access this energy,
yeah,
it came down to seemingly one of the most
yeah,
simple
yeah.
things, right?
I will get to that. What I was going to say, like I said, I had 5 sentences coming out of my mouth at once. I
Only
just need to
5?
put them in order. We talk about, the sacred third. The best example of the lover energy is a newborn child, because they're just filled with their love receptacles with joy and wonder for the world. And I
Right.
think one of the things that takes us out of childhood is when we lose our joy.
Mm-hmm.
We lose a sense of joy.
Yeah.
As adult men, we were told that, well, that's not responsible. You have to work hard. You have to grind. You have to fucking find your joy. And
Find your
what we,
bliss, right?
yeah,
Campbell?
Joseph Campbell, find your bliss. Yeah. We had the men, like when we're talking about what are you seeding, SEED, what are you seeding in your life? What are the seeds you're planting? What would you love? What would bring you joy? What is your heart desire? Not what will you settle for?
Be
And men, how
bold.
many of you are creating your life with that kind of intention? Right? That's the key.
And then writing
So
it down, right?
yeah, yeah. All of you techno heads, like grab a pen and some paper, an ancient scroll, and write shit down.
Yep. Yep.
There is something that happens in the brain when you actually physically write it down.
Yep. It activates the higher parts of the brain, which is the part of our executive centers, our prefrontal cortex. It opens up, that is the part of our brain connected to possibility, to options, to the bigger picture. So when we're writing, we're actually, and that's what creative writing is, right? Is expanding our mind, expanding our consciousness to access what's possible. Follow your bliss, not find your bliss. I want to make
Right,
sure,
right.
I'm sure I get someone comment on that. I was fine. I was follow your bliss.
Oh, that's funny. I think it's a measure of success if we start getting trolls.
Troll us,
That's
please.
a good sign, right?
Gotta have some haters out there.
Oh, funny. So yeah, Mercola, who, for anybody who doesn't know Dr. Joseph Mercola, he is a pioneer. He is a trailblazer.
Yeah.
He is one of the people that stood up against medical tyranny in the last 4 years in the agenda to
Really the last
everybody.
like 30 years he's
Yeah.
stood up to that, just to give him credit where credit is due. He was, when you say pioneer, he was really one of the first Western doctors actually to realize the system he was in. And I used to get the Mercola newsletter every week. I remember 20 years ago. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been in for a long time, but during the pandemic, during the lockdown, he became one of the most censored doctors in America. Not only did all the social media platforms shut him down, Chase Bank actually closed his bank account, like shut it down, and his family's bank account and his assistant's bank accounts without reason. Like they did everything they could to silence him. So that's somebody I want to listen to immediately.
Oh,
And
they had a reason.
yeah, they had a reason. Yeah, none that was justifiable. But
Right.
one of the first things he said is one of the healthiest things that you can do for your overall health is go for a walk in peak noon sun, whatever time the sun is the strongest in your area, with as little clothing on as possible. Now, obviously, please don't go, walking around in your skivvies or a banana hammock. Your neighbors might not like that. But, just shorts, no shirt for the men. and photobiomodulation is a real thing. That's human photosynthesis. Plants take sunlight and convert it into energy, into electricity. Our bodies do the same thing. So one of the healthiest practices you could do is go for a 15-minute walk every day at peak noon sun with no shirt on. How simple is that? And if you
So
tell me you don't
simple,
have
people won't
time for
do it.
that, Yeah. If you tell me you don't have time for that, then I'll
We
tell
got to
you
make
that.
it complicated, Russell, please. The more technical and the more complicated it is, the more
Right.
people are going to perceive that it's going to work and they're going to do it. Haven't you learned anything yet?
Clearly not. What was I thinking?
Simple things can't be real. Come on.
Oh,
Getting
man.
sassy.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It was it was really, really cool. And just meeting at that conference was amazing. And I got to have a little one-on-one time with Dave Asprey, who is also a pioneer. I mean, he's the godfather of biohacking. I think he's the one who coined the term.
Oh, and he lets you know it too.
Yes. Hey, man, well earned.
Well earned for sure. He's a great man and another voice for what is true and what is natural. I think that's what we got to really speak through, amplify here. Everything we're speaking about around life force energy, lover energy, it's just what's natural.
Yeah.
It's all the other stuff that gets piled on, whether it's shadow or whether it's what we take in, food based. It's just peeling away what isn't true or what's processed, and getting back to what's natural. Our bodies are self-healing, self-regulating systems that are meant to express life. And when that light gets dimmed or when there's tension on the system, the body cannot express itself. And the fact of the matter is, our systems are being assaulted
Preach.
by
Preach,
so
brother.
many. Yeah, I mean, most cancer is environmental toxins, right? It's you talk about men being fat, lazy, dumb, all that. The amount of microplastics and hormone disruptors that are in our plastics and in the foods we eat, and how our sons are premature testicles and girls are developing faster than they should, and just really messing up the endocrine systems of everyone, frankly, right? So it's not so much of how do I just get what's natural, because we're also being assaulted in certain ways where we need to take proactive measures, whether it's through biohacking or whatever it may be. So there's so much that surrounds activating and maintaining our life force.
Yeah. So, how do I not just what do I need to do that's natural? What do I need to eliminate that's not?
Right. Right.
And if you're eating ultra processed foods and you're drinking out of plastic bottles all the time and you're putting your face in front of a screen and you're not getting sunlight, you don't have any bioenergy.
Right.
You don't have any life force.
You don't have any energy.
You got to cultivate. Yeah, you got to cultivate it, right? And guys, if you're not working out, come on. It's not about vanity. It's not about, having the biggest muscles. It's about cultivating life force energy. And movement is life.
Yep.
If you've never been to a gym and you're out of shape, just go for a fucking walk. Right?
Yeah.
Do something. Do push-ups off of the kitchen counter if that's where you can start. And by the way, I've worked with people that's all they could do when they were beginning, and then they're busting out sets of 20 on the ground and superset with burpees. Like, just start somewhere. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. That's the saying.
Yep.
Do something. Cultivate that life force energy, because your body is a reflection of your consciousness. So if you're
the body temple, right?
Yeah, broken, bloated, out of shape. Well,
and I think you said something important there. It's not about vanity. It's about feeling good, right? And I see so many men that have settled for feeling like shit and being okay with it. And let me tell you, your women are not happy about it. The dad bod is not a cool thing. We've made it into that to minimize the pain of it,
to make it comfortable.
Right. No one wants to be uncomfortable these days, for sure. And I want to make sure we stay on task. I feel as we could just go off on
the whole time.
Yeah, but you know what, man? It is a call out. It is a call out to, and what we said to our men last night. There is a real assessment you need to do at this point in the journey of like, okay, how is my health? How is my energy? How is my wealth? My finances? Because that's directly connected to your life force energy. How is my relationship? Is there passion? Is there intimacy? Is there heart connection? Is there that sacred union?
Right.
Or it's meh? we're kind of roommates. There's no passion. Again, just a real assessment of your own situation relative to these topics around the lover energy, around life force. Your time is one of the biggest ones. And I'm raising my hand because and maybe I'm trying to fool myself, but I've stopped saying my life is busy and started saying, oh, it's very full. My schedule is full. I'm not busy. I'm full. Yeah. I'm so fucking full. I'm overflowing. And you know what? I can't sustain it. I just can't. And I break down. And geez, the
time
gym.
management.
Yeah. It's time and life management. And this is a cornerstone of accessing lover and life force energy. Go ahead.
And how many men are squandering time?
Wasting
time.
Oh my
it's
God.
the saying, right? And it's the one thing you don't get back, man. None of us do. So spend it wisely.
What is every quote unquote wealthy person has ever said? Like, time is more important than money.
Yep.
You can't buy it. You can't buy it. But a minute of presence, a minute of like full unadulterated presence with your woman, priceless.
Mm-hmm.
Or your child.
Yeah. When I was at the Biohacking conference, there were different processes where you could different technologies. There's something called the amp coil that uses like all these different frequencies. It was really cool, but on the tech hall floor where there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and you lay back in a recliner like chair, and they want to put headphones and a blindfold on. And I was like, can we do it without the blindfold? Because my situational awareness is screaming right now to be blind. It's going to sensory deprivation in front of a room of hundreds of people. Like, that's really hard for me. But I'm like, I'll just close my eyes, which is cool. What the point I'm making with it is that even with the headphones on and the soothing music playing and whatever, I could still hear the voices of hundreds and hundreds or 1,000 people all in the background. And I went, wow, how is this like our daily life? We're being bombarded with all of these different interruptions and distractions and commercials and social media and people and the stories in our head that we didn't let go from the argument that we had this morning or yesterday
or 10 years ago.
Constantly. How can you find peace and presence if that's the sounds in your head?
Yeah. You can't.
So here's part of cultivating life force, bioenergy.
One of the men on our call last night seeded, again, SEEDING. And by the way, again, I'll put my tinfoil hat on for a moment. We are in the time of the year, the beginning of the year. I mean, the spring is the beginning of new life, and why we seed this energy now, because this is when the soil is most ripe for growth, right? And what he seeded was spaciousness. And this is a corporate executive turned entrepreneur, now leads a mastermind container for professionals. And part of the dream of that is like, oh, I'll have all this time, right? And now he's just finding himself being busier because now he's an entrepreneur, and he's
white rabbit.
Don't become an entrepreneur to have space in your life, that's for sure. Go ahead, you want to say something?
Little white rabbit syndrome carried over from the corporate world for him. So it's like, I'm late, and it's always busy, more.
Right.
And then he hits burnout.
Yep.
Crashes, has to start all over again.
Yeah.
But if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. So he seeded spaciousness.
Yeah.
Presence.
And for all you entrepreneurs out there, and I'm involved in other entrepreneurial mastermind communities, and the biggest challenge across the board is burnout. Because entrepreneurs are passionate. You want to pour into your business, but it takes over. And again, this ties into that addicted lover energy of just like more, and keep going. Right. And now this man is just seeding spaciousness. And the purpose is so that he can show up authentically in the things that he is required to do or wants to do. And he was finding when he wasn't doing that, he was not bringing his whole self to the table. He was depleted. He was run down. He was overwhelmed. I'm raising my hand here. I know that feeling. And the reality is, especially men, as you get older, Russell's in his 50s, as he said, he could do things that 25-year-olds can't do. I'm in my mid 40s, and that shit's real. As you said, how did you say it? aging is inevitable, right? Being old is a mindset,
Getting old
and
is a
choice.
choice. Yeah. Yep.
Right. But aging is real. Our bodies do change, right? Matter does change. How
Sure.
our testosterone levels, everything changes, and we need to readapt to the environment and be stronger. I don't view the gym anymore as like, oh, I'm going to work out. It's like, it's my therapy. It's my physical therapy. It's my mental therapy. It's the place I go and I literally can tune everything else out. And it's frankly one of the few places I just really focus on me and take care of myself. And I have whether it's the weightlifting or the activation, mobilization, whether it's the sauna, steam room, cold plunging, whatever it is that your amalgam of how you do that. You have to do stuff. You have to, bodies do change, and aging is a thing. So again, for this man that he's younger and he's creating this space in his life because he's getting the whisper now. If I don't make this change now, it's going to be bad news later, and we can go down that path of disease with this.
Man, we usually save actionables for the end of the call, but let's start here. Whatever you're doing right now, if you're driving, please focus on driving. But exhale all the air out of your lungs. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. Hold it. Exhale. All the air out. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Breathe. It's called the box breath or the warrior's breath. It is said that one single conscious breath can put you in a meditative state. Just do that. Don't tell me you don't have time to breathe. You're going to die if you don't. So, just do that. Start with presence in this moment.
And case in point, right before we recorded this episode, you're like, "Hey, Michael, man, your energy seems a little low. You seem a little neutral." And he's like, "You know how to do some breath work?" which we laughed at because
he's the guy who teaches us all breath work.
Right. And, in literally the matter of 15 seconds with some nose breathing and activating the chi and the prana, or stage 6 of the work that we do, boom, changed my state. Mm-hmm. A little focused breath is so powerful. So again, actionable is beautiful to bring that awareness in. I love the box breath as well. We do it often with the men in our group because it is just, you have to be present to it. Right. That's the thing with breath work is you can't just do it and have your mind somewhere else. Like, you have to be present with it. And presence is hallmark lover energy. Sorry, trying to keep bringing it back to our central theme here.
It is the central theme, but it's going to be easier for anybody who's watching this on YouTube versus just listening. But Michael, could you kind of describe and take him through stage 6? Because that's
sure. Powerful. Yeah, and so, this is based on I'll just give a little brief intro. So for many years, I practiced as a network spinal analysis chiropractor, 2 offices, Northern and Southern California is how I met Russell in LA. And the sister work to network is a modality called somato respiratory integration, SRI for short. And somato meaning your body, respiratory meaning breath, integration meaning integration. So integrating your breath in your body and activating that life force energy through specific movements, specific statements, and specific breath patterns. And when you synergize those 3 things together, massive changes happen. And one of the beautiful things that Dr. Donald Epstein developed with the breath work is the state of consciousness, or part of the healing process that one goes through that's universal among all of us. So when we recognize what pattern or stage we're in, we have a now associated breath, touch, and movement exercise to activate that energy. And stage 6 is very much about activating the transform or potential energy in the body, building up energy, or the statement would be getting ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Like you're cultivating, like you're in that locker room at the football game, ready to bust out on the field. And it's like building. And again, for those of you watching, it's just a simple hands on the body. And you're literally grabbing the connective tissue. You're not just like spinning your hands around your body. Underneath your skin is the connective tissue matrix that actually interconnects every part of your body. And they say that the intrinsic nervous system in the connective tissue is way predates our actual nervous system in the body and transmits information in a tensegrous way where every part of your system is responding simultaneously. I can't even get all of that sentence out in one breath. But the importance of actually activating the connective tissue, because that's really connected to the life force. And again, the breath is nose. It's like a I'm ready. And it's a focus and just in those few seconds, it's like boom, focus, activation. How many of you could walk into a meeting now centered, grounded,
guys,
ready?
Yes. If you're going to go into a meeting, into the boardroom, into a sales call, into, the gym to work out, into, you're about to come home from work and you're going to be bombarded with shit from your woman and your children. Do this. It takes 10 seconds. 30 seconds max.
Just to clarify, there isn't shit from women and children in your home, but
we know. Yeah, we know what I meant.
To prepare yourself for all the talking you're gonna do.
Right. You love the Chris Rock episode. It's like, just let me get a foot in the door.
That's what I was referencing for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me get something to drink. Let me get something to eat. I gotta prepare myself for all the talking I'm gonna do.
Right. So, guys, this is a great one. Now, Michael, just to clarify, so you've got. Does it matter right hand over left or left over right?
No, it doesn't matter. It's just palm over palm. You're just trying to focalize
over your heart center, like basically above your sternum, right?
That's a good place to start. You can do it on other parts of your body, but for the beginner, just above the heart. Because again, we're talking heart energy, life force. That's what we want to activate.
And you're pressuring enough to move that connective tissue.
Right underneath the skin, where you can feel it kind of almost like it's gliding over your sternum.
And when you're circling your hands, are you circling clockwise or counterclockwise? Does it matter?
It technically doesn't matter, but it's clockwise.
Yeah, I thought
if you're looking at me. Yeah.
Which is the masculine direction, by the way.
Gentlemen. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Counterclockwise is feminine. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and just that circle and that.
Yeah.
And it gets faster and faster and I'm ready.
Yep.
Yeah.
And once that breath gets intense, then it's the words of I'm ready. You can throw an expletive if you want in there. I'm so fucking ready. Because you want to build the intensity, right? We're turning potential energy into kinetic or movement energy.
Right. And if I'm like at the gym, like I was doing bench press yesterday and coach only has 40 seconds rest in between sets. And I'm like, I'm done. Like I feel spent and I've got 3 more sets to go. I'll sit there on the bench and I'll do this. And if people look at me funny, I don't give a shit.
I was about to say, it's okay to look weird.
Care. I really don't
when they see you PR, they're like, what'd you do?
Yeah, I felt like I could bench press a Chevy after that.
Right.
So man, just take this as an actionable. Take this as a gift.
The example
you do to cultivate that bioenergy.
That's great. I love that. And, I remember giving that assignment to people in practice, guys that are like CrossFit guys that, are very much into that PR or that next level. And I was like, do this exercise and tell me what happens next time. And undoubtedly every time it was like, and I felt like I could do 10 of them, and what flashed when you were doing that, you hear those stories of women who babies get trapped under cars and they're like He-Man lifting up the cars off of the babies and no viable way that should be able to happen. Yet, what did they tap into? Their muscles didn't all of a sudden grow, right? They tapped into a universal force through their body and with the potential consequence and did things that are logically impossible.
Right.
So that's that miracle sort of healing energy I think we're really hitting on here as well.
Right. So bringing it back to our central hub.
Sorry, you have me doing stage 6.
I know, dude. No, I love it. Yeah, I just want to make sure because I'm the guy that'll go off on an off ramp. And it's like, wait a minute, we're in Poughkeepsie. How did we get here? Yeah. So what?
Try to spell Poughkeepsie.
It's spelled with a P. Come on, Michael.
I'm from New York and I can't spell Poughkeepsie.
It's spelled with a P. I get it. But what other points did we want to make on that cultivation of sexual energy? I'll say this, and which the lover, again, it's not just sexual energy, but sexual energy is an aspect. It is a facet of bioenergy. And it is one of the biggest ways that we as men in today's culture are leaking. Energy.
Yeah.
We're leaking energy. Imagine
you
got holes in the bottom of the boat. You're not getting too far, right? And imagine you have goals, right? You're seeding wealth, you're seeding greatness, whatever it may be. Well, if you've only got fumes in the gas tank, how far you think you're going to drive, bro?
Yeah.
Not that far. And if you're depleting your energy, if it's leaking all over the place through that sexual energy, whether it's having the rubberneck syndrome of every girl that walks by, or whether it's spending time on social media or pornography or taking matters into your own hands, you're leaking energy. And one of the questions I asked the men last night is, how powerful are you willing to let yourself become? Because if you can build that and build that and build that, and it's going to be challenging, right?
Yeah.
Because you've developed a habit, an addiction of releasing that whenever the desire fills. But the Stoics talk about a man who is controlled by his desires is a slave.
Mm-hmm.
He's not sovereign.
And here are some of the questions we actually asked the men last night. So we're going to share this information with you men as well. Notice where your sexual urges are and where they're leaking.
Mm-hmm.
And this is big because men leak their sexual energy a lot. If, a woman gives you a little bit of attention, all of a sudden it's Fort City, right?
Yeah.
Right. And frankly, that scares women. That puts them in a state of defense big time. So as a masculine man, as an awakened man, we don't leak that energy. Also notice how or where you want to deflect the topic of your sexuality and not take it seriously or diminish it, or
make jokes about it.
It's make jokes about it. I mean, we live in a very taboo culture where I know sex was not talked about in my house. I never got to talk, and most men haven't either. So this is, from an early age was seen as like taboo and uncomfortable to talk about. And part of healing is to be able to talk about something. And this is one of the core things men need to address for sure.
I'm glad you used that word, taboo, because here's a fun fact. The word taboo we have taken to mean is forbidden. The actual meaning of the word is sacred. And in the beginning, the sacred texts were forbidden to the common man. That's why that kind of translation took place. But if you can bring the sacred back to the sexual, wow, what could transform in your life? What could transform in your relationship? And I'm not saying I got this all figured out. I'm not saying it's an easy path, but it's a worthy path. It's worth it. The reward is worth it. So
I think that might be a good place to actually wrap it up, because bringing the sacred back into whether it's your sexual energy, your life force energy, making your own health, your own wealth sacred again, or maybe for the first time, it is absolutely the place for men to begin the journey of the deeper work to become an awakened man. Take inventory of these places that we talked about. Life force is literally taking an inventory of the basic foundational energies of your life, your sexual energy, your vital life force energy, your heart energy, where you're putting your attention, where you're leaking your energy, and what do you desire? Like, just to bring it full spectrum.
Yeah.
What would you love? Again, love and desire, passion, all of these things are aspects of the lover energy. And these are things, start writing it down. Be bold, be creative. Just get that pen to the paper now and start seeing what's possible. It might take a year, but in the macro view of your life, 12 months is nothing.
Right.
So
And
start now.
Yeah, beautiful point. And to that, I would add, men, the only moment that really exists is right now. Present moment. That's it. Past is a memory, future is an imagination. So let's use that imagination effectively. Your life is a blank canvas. It doesn't matter what happened before now. Right now, your life is a blank canvas. You have every color under the rainbow in your paint set, and you have the skills of a master painter. What would you really create? What is your masterpiece? Just pretend that it's possible and create that. What would get you out of bed every morning going, yes, I'm so fucking happy to be alive. I love my life. And in addition to those actionables, get outside, get sunlight on your skin. It's good for you. Photobiomodulation, the actual conversion of sunlight into energy and electricity, is a real thing. exercise your body. If it's a walk, if it's the gym, if it's jumping jacks, push-ups, hiking, do something. Movement is life. Eat real foods, whole foods, organic foods, foods with one ingredient. There's a thought. If it comes in a bag or a box or a can, has ingredients you can't pronounce or sound like the name of a Persian warlord, you probably shouldn't eat it.
The food should be the ingredient, like beef.
Right.
It should just be beef.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
do those things and watch yourself transform, watch yourself energize, watch yourself grow.
And like everything, it's not a one and done.
Nope.
Discipline, consistency, and a lot more to say there.
Wait, so, you mean you don't get jacked from going to the gym once? Son of a...
You've been duped, Russell. All those days you went into the gym, you could have just done it once.
Just showed up once, just bought the membership and stayed on the couch. Not going to happen, guys.
Done that. It doesn't work. Right. Well, another beautiful episode and a lot of value here for you men. Look forward to hearing from you men and starting a conversation. So
yeah. And let me just add in real quick, Michael. Guys, if you're listening to this, if you're enjoying this, give us a rating, give us a review, give us a comment. Let us know what's important to you, what you would like to hear discussed. Like, give us some feedback. We're here for you guys, right? Let's together we win. Let's together uplift the consciousness and the vibration, the evolution of masculinity.
With that, we're complete. Aho.
Oh.
Have a beautiful day out there, man.
Catch you next time, man.